okay, when all of the offlaners are already banned out, we get the Tingle King Magnus. So pretty excited for both teams, honestly, with both of their drafts.
Yeah, and now with that mag pickup, obviously, if it is Tingle King on it, which it almost certainly will be, you are going to have him sort of focus on his own game to at least a certain extent, but you will have that empower as well for whatever the play will be on Scourge if they are in fact looking for that sort of melee carry, which there's really not too much right now in the way of non-melee carries that I think they'd really consider looking at. So you are going to have that increased farming rate for Scourge that is going to help him sort of keep up with Boris on that Luna. So the Mac pick is always an interesting one, right? You buff up your teammates, you got a little bit of sort of play yourself with that Shockwave Skewer combo, and there's always that threat from the big RP play. The RP with the Blink Dagger sort of setup just completely devastates lineups if they're not paying attention to that mag's location really at all times. So we'll see what Tingle King can get from it, but I feel like it is going to be pretty threatening at this point. So the cut sort of bringing it back with the mag, and we'll have to wait and see just how much they get out of it. But the potential, at least, is going to be something that TOOBASED will be maybe a little bit scared of.
Yeah, and it's hard to say what you're going to want from SMD. We might be seeing the Ember Spirit banned out. We might be seeing the Wraith King banned out because I'm trying to think of heroes that you're not going to want to play against because really two-based have a fantastic all-around lineup and the cut need a very specific hero to get in their hands. They need a melee core that feels okay versus Luna, that doesn't need to necessarily worry about that AA blast or that burst, and can lane versus Timbersaw. And really, not too many heroes tick that box, especially that SMD play. So I'm trying to sort of figure this one out. And assuming that SMD isn't going to end up on this Leshrac, and we've seen him play, again, the Leshrac in that previous series, and I feel like we could possibly be seeing him reach that, and then maybe a Red 2 hero. The only issue is that Puck, TA, those are really his best. So I feel like this has to be almost assuredly a Red 2 Leshrac, in which case, what is that steroid? What are you going to empower? We can't really see the Juggernaut, or at least I can't see the Juggernaut. Besides from that, it really doesn't feel like anything feels fantastic. For the first time, maybe ever, we could see a PA possibly. That's a classic Scourge McDuck hero, and again, pairs up well with the Magnus, but really, two-based have an incredibly strong base coming from their drafts.
Yeah, and I think you were sort of outlining maybe three sort of different things that you needed from that carry pick. At best, I think the cut are only going to be able to really get two. The Ursa would have been one of those heroes that sort of ticks two of the three boxes there, but it has already been banned away. And now the Juggernaut, you weren't quite feeling it, but it was probably another one of those heroes that sort of gets you close-ish to what you want. So two base are going to take it away, and now if you're the cut, you have a rather tough decision to make. A lot of the obvious options have been just straight up removed from the pool. You were talking about the PA play that would feel incredibly risky, but as of right now, it doesn't feel like you have too many spectacular options anyway. So maybe they take a risk here and pull the trigger on that PA. Maybe they bring back, I was going to say maybe something like the Lifestealer, but that doesn't even feel great. You really aren't going to get someone who fits all of your needs for this scenario. You just have to go with maybe what feels most comfortable for Scourge at this point.
Yeah, and when we dive really deep, maybe the monkey, maybe the Bloodseeker, and we are just going to see the Ember. Okay, simple hero, and you're going to be able to buff him up. Whether or not that's going to be Red 2's hero or Leshrac, we're going to have to see what comes out from Annihilate in that mid lane. But hero that doesn't really care too much about AA, again, you're pretty low lockdown. All of the pressure is going to be on Fleet to lock down this Ember Spirit. It's going to be a pretty free Ember game, no matter where it ends up playing. But it does feel a little bit strange. And the Invoker, okay, last pick Invoker. Usually we see this hero picked up way earlier, but now, and yeah, it is going to be that Red 2 Invoker. They are going to end up putting that Leshrac versus the Timbersaw. We'll see if Monkeys Forever gets shut out as much as he got shut out in that previous game, but Invoker versus Ember Spirit, that is a classically bad Ember lane. So we're going to have to see what Red 2 is really able to make of it, because that is not a good lane. That is not something fun to play in. At the same time, you've got this Hoodwink, you've got this Magnus in that top lane, and I feel like Ionite is going to very easily be able to make that rotation, get that cold snap into the cold feet, set it up with the tornado. It feels like Simply TOOBASED, it's a pretty base lineup they've been able to amass.
Yeah, they've just got seemingly an edge on their opponents right now. We'll have to see anytime we get into this situation. It always does come down to execution, so maybe the cut can pull this one off, but just based off the draft alone, it does appear that they have done the best that they can, but it's going to be a little bit harder for them to get what they want done compared to TOOBASED lineup. It just seems like the ease of execution sort of favors that TOOBASED lineup a little bit more. So
Yep.
tough
Yep.
for the cut to do it, but they've got to try. Final match of the group stage. There's really nothing left until the playoffs, so we'll see if they have it in themselves to pull off what's going to be tough, but should be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, and really the sort of cruxes in Simply TOOBASED position is just, if that Timbersaw does get shut down by the safe lane Leshrac, if you're able to get that early point in Pulse Nova that little bit sooner than the Chakram comes out, then that Leshrac can completely turn on you. You can definitely take down this Timbersaw, and that's where, again, it's going to be up to the mid laner to make that rotation to the Timbersaw's lane before he gets to that unkillable phase where he's able to force down your towers, he's going to come to your lane. You always want to meet him first. You don't want him to come to your lane with that 10-minute cart and start forcing into your base. So to that point, it's going to be up to Red 2 to really put the game on his back. But again, you're laning versus a Quasflex Invoker. You're going to have to get a little bit, or rather spend a little bit more of your gold on that regen. Being able to stay active and just staying out on the map is what Red 2 might struggle with. So hopefully Giant's going to be able to make those easy rotations, get those runes for him. And if the Ember can get those runes, again, it's a Spirit. Spirits can snowball the runes. They can make a little bit more plays than any other hero in the game. So really, hopefully the cut are going to have those very strong individual performances where as TOOBASED, just want to see them sing together as a team, play some good Dota, know they're a good team.
Yeah, that is the very interesting sort of clashing of styles, right? If you're TOOBASED, stick together, take advantage of your team fight strength, your lockdown and damage, and just try to steamroll from there, whereas the cut, they're going to need players to just straight up win their lanes kind of on their own merit. In particular, as you said, Red 2 on this Ember, he's got to do so much for them. His teammates aren't really going to be able to build up quite as quickly, so we'll see if he can pull that one off. As Pingu gonna get denied that rune. Flea just straight up throws the fissure in his face, and they're not going to be able to get too much there. It was worth a try, but no stealing of the bounty runes this early.
Yep, and now just the default, and really just make sure that Scourge does not have this good of a time. In that previous game, he was 28 and 16 or something versus the Centaur, where he didn't have terrible CS on Monkeys, but it just felt like he couldn't even walk up to the wave, maybe indicative of having that really aggressive build where he had the Ring of Regen, the Ring of Health, no boots for a pretty long time. So hopefully we're going to see Monkeys get away with a little bit more this time in the laning phase.
Yeah, I would assume so on this Timbersaw, but he does have to be kind of careful here, not going up against, obviously, that sort of physical-based melee character, trying to lane up against the Lesh, and we do see him get maybe a little bit more aggressive with that skill build, first point up in the Whirling Death, so this is something that we have started seeing from the Timbersaws in these off-lane positions as well, the ability to maybe not go all in for the reactive armor, a couple of points in the Whirling Death and the Timber Chain, and you play defensively by playing aggressively, which doesn't quite make a lot of sense, but it is most of the time something that sort of works out. You play so far forward that you really don't sit back and wait for your opponents to come to you the way the Timbersaw normally does. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Flea is just looking for the pull here, but Pingu's going to contest quite a bit of this. I'm not sure if he's... No, he hasn't actually gotten any denies, but he is making an attempt at it. There we go. Did get one. So Flea maybe denied that level 2 here for just a little while longer, and yeah, he's one creep short.
Yeah, now Pingu will take the creeps himself. Unfortunately, didn't have that impel level 1. He's trying to be obnoxious. And Flea is, yeah, he's being pretty annoying, not giving Pingu any of these last hits. But the wave is eventually going to be amassed. Monkeys is just pulling the creep waves around, trying to make that Uber wave so that way he gets those free levels, that easy XP.
A weird scenario there. Creep wave gets pulled all the way under the tower. Both of the supports go for it. Neither one of them walks away with level 2. It's just not not sure we'll call that a waste of time, but just sort of a bit of a wash in that scenario. As Flea goes in for the fissure, not really able to connect onto any heroes, and now he and Pingu will just continue to trade out damage. But really, there's not going to be a whole lot of kill potential here. Even if Pingu does hit in with this Impale, he doesn't have the damage to find it himself, and the Lesh, unless the fight actually rotates or drifts a little bit closer to the lane, he's not going to be willing to give up any farm to actually go pursuing a support kill over in his actual jungle. So that one is really just going to kind of stall out in the top lane. Should be just more of a farm focus for both sides, and we might see a sort of similar scenario over in the bottom lane as well. Jubei and Boris are just going to sort of try to control this up as best as they can. Giant, though, he does snipe out a courier, so Boris is going to be without his courier for about a minute. That's probably the closest we'll get, though, to any actual kill attempts in this bottom lane, at least for maybe another minute or two, when Tinkle has maybe a little bit more to work with, and if he can pull his opponent out of the lane with the skewer.
Are you guys gonna play the game?
But until then, not really sure he's willing to risk it.
And you can see already just sort of how much damage he takes just to approach up to that wave. Just the power of the second point in that Lunar Blessing. Being a ranged hero, having plus 15, it hurts. It's not the most fun, especially with this AA Luna, just an incredibly obnoxious lane. Probably going to need a few raindrops. Not going to see the Tranquil Boots or anything of that sort coming out from him. But they can't really get aggressive. They've also been really good at clawing down these trees, so Giant doesn't have the easiest time getting that bushwhack, but he can always do that. And ooh, Tingle King.
Hold up.
He missed, but now on Boris, he's gonna have
Wants
to
it
commit for
anyway. Boris turns around though with the Lucent, and
boy.
the targeting just a little awkward there. I mean, they get damage onto both Jubei and Boris, but if all of the damage they used onto both had been committed onto one, they would have been able to just get that kill and potentially walk away. Instead, Giant does come in there to sort of salvage it, but that's first blood to 2-based, and that's your mag going down in exchange for the support AA.
Yep, and just a Ring of Bassi now, a little bit more regen coming in, so Boris is feeling completely fine. Going to be a free courier trip as well, and full min on the AA. Pretty bad for the side of the cut in just that little brief second where, oh, I missed the shockwave. I'm sorry, Giant. This is what we're doing now. I've got to dive in because I'm just way too far deep.
Oh, monkeys. Well, hold on a second.
Yeah, punished.
Okay. That double stun play coming out from the cut is enough, and even with 2 points up in the reactive, sort of mentioned it earlier on, they've got enough magic damage here where they don't really care. They don't build up those reactive armor stacks on the Timber, and he is going to be able to, or not going to be able to, excuse me, get himself away.
Mid.
Meanwhile, Red?
Okay.
Oh man, that was close. About 48 HP on Annihilate, but Red 2 just gets a little bit overconfident. I don't think he saw Flea there until he's already kind of into the fight anyway, so he figures I might as well go for it, not really going to get out, and he does end up punished, or being punished for it, as Annihilate is able to survive, and he's the one who got the credit for the kill there too. And Jubei?
Oh, yeah, bottom. They caught him on really the only trees that you can. He was just walking in, or in between there because he was trying to get that small camp pull off, so easy punish. But yeah, mid, I'm guessing Annihilate used that Tornado to get a ranged creep. Then Red 2 said, okay, I've got Flame Guard. You do not have Tornado. I'm going to get aggressive on you. But still, it is unfortunate, especially in a lane that isn't going the best for him. 25 and 12 to the 25 and 6. A lot of those last hits being from that small camp that Red 2 sort of has to farm to keep up with the Invoker.
Yeah, so it's not the most fun in the world for him. Speaking of not the most fun, Flea. I want to be careful here. Giant was sort of wrapping in, but it looks like Red 2 doesn't actually want to commit for that. So Flea is able to walk away, but he's still standing under this obs board. Just put it down really a moment or two ago, but he's going to try to rotate his way mid anyway. Jubei's actually gotten in here as well, and he is still currently hidden, but not sure how much he's going to be able to do. They were trying to get the rune, but the invis was already picked up by the Invoker further to the north, so instead, Jubei wanted the ward, not going to get it, but there's going to be the Tornado into the EMP. Red 2, he's not level 6 yet, so he doesn't have... Okay, now he's level 6, and he should be able to jump away, so just getting that last level up in time as he is able to jump himself out of there, and the Sleight of Fist actually lasted, I think, longer than Flea had been anticipating. He kind of jumped to the gun with that fissure and didn't really get that extra lockdown down in time.
Yeah, and I like that we do see Flea making those aggressive rotations, giving Monkeys Forever that soul XP. At the same time, Pingu also giving Scourge that soul XP. And actually, yeah, He's going to be forced back to base. Nothing he can do. Once that chakram comes out, and Monkey's actually already having that hood, there is not much that Scourge can do except for make this rotation towards the bottom lane.
Boris is going to get hit up.
Ooh.
Dropping low, but good play from Flea. In with the fissure. That's going to create that physical barrier, but now Jubei...
No boots.
Can he get out? Good shockwave. Actually pulling in too, but Flea, he's in a position there to actually stun up Tingle, but there's going to be the bushwhack again. As he said, Jubei in some trouble. Still not dead, though, and here comes Annihilate TPing in, dropping down that EMP. And the Hoodwink will be taken down. Pingu on the run. He doesn't have a point in the Carapace, so he's...
Has the tornado.
Oh. Good shockwave, but there's that tornado. Pingu going to get locked down, and he should fall. Annihilate able to grab the double, and that fight gets a little bit weird. There's so many heroes on both sides just rotating their way bot, but at the end of the day, TOOBASED walk away with the better of that engagement. 2 kills for the Invoker, and no heroes lost.
Yep, and it does feel pretty bad because you know that Red 2, I think he made sure to EMP the Ember Spirit, keeping tabs on that Ember Spirit's mana pool. You can really tell what plays he can and cannot make, whereas Annihilate just very easily TPs to the lane, is able to get those kills, move on, and Scourge just one step behind.
Red 2 wants in onto Boris.
Oh,
spot him out in the jungle. Boris doesn't have a point up in the ult here, so he's just going to get run down. Couldn't turn around and fight, so the haste rune gets him the kill, and look at the pings coming in there. Red 2 is going to get it, or excuse me, the tips rather, as Red 2 gets sort of congratulated for that. But in the bottom lane, Tingle.
Ooh, barely.
They got him. I thought Scourge was out, but Flea says no. No. You are not going anywhere. Scourge taken down. Annihilate with another double kill, and now he's actually going to TP himself mid. They're going to try to hit up Red 2, but at this point, Jubei actually can't keep them in position there. He had to just fall back to avoid getting picked off, so Annihilate not able to make a move yet, but Flea is still sort of on the hunt. Pingu is not in a great spot. He does have the Carapace this time around, but I think he might still take too much damage. Annihilate's going to lock him down with the Cold Snap into the urn, but the Sleight of Fist from Red 2 does bring down Flea, so they at least get that kill. But this Invoker picking up another one. That's his 6th kill of the game in just 9 minutes. He's really starting to look intimidating. Actually, look at this. He's going straight in for an Orchid after the urn.
Yeah, and something that we used to see a lot more than we have seen recently, but fully committing for the Quas Wex, probably not going to see too many points in that Exort early, not making that transition out, possibly towards that Midas, and really no reason for him to have the Spirit Vessel this game. You could aim to pick it up just to make that Leshrax's life a little bit harder, but instead, once you get this Orchid, it just means that Red 2 is going to need to be a little bit ahead of you item-wise, and if Red 2 does not itemize for that Eul Scepter, if he sees the Orchid components, I can only imagine that's what he's going to start queuing up. But you don't really want to buy that item on Ember Spirit anymore. Before, didn't really feel the worst. It still doesn't feel terrible, but you'd much rather have that BKB and have that be your solution and fight constantly. Ooh. He's getting pretty low here, but
gotta be careful.
Got the right one. Okay.
Flea. Okay. Hits up the fissure. Annihilate should be able to fall back, but another Sleight of Fist does drop him a little bit low, but it's not quite going to be low enough. Annihilate walks away, but to be honest, that rune didn't really do him much good, but it's better than giving over to the other side, that's for sure. But now Red 2, I mean, he's still on the hunt here. How far does he really go? He's going to run into Jubei, but it's not just Jubei, it's about 2 or 3 other heroes, and yeah, he'll bail out before he really gets caught.
Yeah, and it's just the Orb of Corrosion. He's able to get so much more aggressive, the max level and Sleight of Fist as well. And unfortunately, Tingle King, while he has been hovering around mid, does not have any points in the Empower just yet. Got a little bit greedy, has the real offlane laning Magnus skill build that we see, I think, really just popularized by Koifa. He was the first one, I think, to really make the call to get that second point in the Skewer and the max level in Shockwave. And very simply, mid, just tornadoes off that Flame Guard. All of the aggression coming out from Red 2 is pretty much dead at that point, aside from the Sleight of Fist spam.
Yeah, he is still going to be able to throw that out there, but it's not going to do him much good in terms of trying to push onto that tower. So
bottom.
He's got to back away, but now, yeah, Monkeys.
The sharpshooter.
Can they hit him up? They miss with the bushwhack, though. Monkeys is still going to get stunned up, and there's going to be that sharpshooter in onto him. And I don't think Monkeys gets it away, or maybe he does. He's going to go in with the chakram, pulling it back to himself.
Scourge is dead.
Yep. Monkeys will find the kill. Red 2 looking for revenge, though, pushing in. But at this point, the reactive armor stacks are kind of helping out, but it's not quite enough. Giant gets the bushwhack into the right click, and Monkeys will fall. But that's going to be Monkeys for the Lesh, and Red 2. And he's still going. Jubei's dropping low. He is going to get some help, though, from Flea as he hits him up with the fissure. And that actually allows the cold feet, never mind, allows the cold feet to proc as well. Red 2 doesn't care. Goes in for the sleight of fist again, and Jubei still gets taken down. So that Ember starting to get maybe a little bit more speed. 3-1 now for him. He's going to TP his way mid, looking
Fight
for the rune.
Yeah, just an easy pickup. And that's really where they have to be careful. Monkeys Forever, lucky enough, had 24 stacks. It's not like it purges off the stacks that you already have. But now, Invoker, that he just showed mid a moment ago, so trying to get out onto the map, maybe find a Giant or a Scourge McDuck, punish them up. But the issue with this build on the Invoker is that you do have to now wait for that Orchid. You don't have the damage coming from the Spirit Vessel. You don't have the farming speed coming in from that Midas, so... Okay, they're not going to pop just yet. They see the Ember Spirit though mid. Okay, let's see.
Do they really pull the trigger here? I mean, they do have eyes on Jubei now, hitting him up with the Sleight of Fist and the Searing Chains, but now the Timber, he wants into the fight. He's pushing his way mid. Scourge is going to get a little bit pushed back here, and now, I don't know, it feels like this one's a little bit too split up. As Flea comes in for that first stun into the EMP, Giant will fall. But the Ember was at least able to jump away, using that Remnant to get himself away from trouble. Pingu now coming in as well under the cover of the Vendetta, but the Ice Blast, well, the Ice Blast is going to force him out again. Annihilate, though, is dropping low as well. Pingu, however, can't finish off the kill, so he's going to have to fall back, but now here comes Boris. Lucent Beam in. Can he get the kill? Yeah, he can. Okay. Pingu didn't even get the chance to really go for that, as that Cold Snap just keeps him locked down. So, no Impale to turn around, and that one goes pretty well. 2 kills going TOOBASED away as they're able to take down the supports.
And as this Timbersaw really just continues to be able to farm, he's just going to consistently put his body in between his and the Leshracs, and there's not much that the Leshrac can do about it because they do have that break on the Sharpshooter, but they really need to catch monkeys without any reactive stacks, like he sort of is in the jungle right now, but they don't really have the vision to make those plays without full knowledge. And again, you're making it fast pace towards that Orchid on the Invoker, and Red 2 isn't really able to make that play just yet. And okay, they're going for
Impale into Sharpshooter, and the Shockwave comes in from Tingle. So I Annihilate just a little bit too far forward. That really wasn't a massive window, but I mean, the Cut were able to take advantage of it. They find the kill, and now they're going to try to push their way mid. They want that tier 1 tower. Red 2, though, got to be a little bit careful here. He's pushing his way forward. Does he have a... I believe he does have a Remnant. Yeah, he does. He's just going to jump away. So he had that safety valve. He's going to be able to fall back. His teammates finish off that tier 1 tower. And TOOBASED effectively seeing their lead sort of cut in half there from a bit over 2k to now hovering around 1,000 as the Bushwhack's in. Tingle wants it. He's going to go for the Shockwave into the Skewer and flee. He does have the ult. He's not going to go for it. So Pingu will lock him down with a Vendetta hit, and that is going to be a second kill in that lane for the Cut.
Just a little bit too much coming out, or a little bit too much damage coming out. And Tingle King, Blink Reveal, you don't feel that bad about that if you are Flea. You're still making your way towards that Blink Dagger. Hasn't had a chance to use that Echo Slam just yet, but Monkeys is still going to try and be obnoxious. But yeah, it was just the fast play coming in from the Cut. They weren't able to get set up entirely on the TOOBASED side. But at the same time all of this is happening, Boris has just had free reign over the top side of the map. No one has really come up here to contest him.
And by far the highest net worth hero in the game here, 8,700. That's a full 2k ahead of anybody on the side of the Cut. So Boris is just having a field day, and his teammates are just looking to continue creating this space for him as they once again push Red 2 back. So to a certain degree, I like this from Red 2. He's poking, he's prodding, he's seeing sort of what is available, but the problem is the answer to that question is not a lot. He's not really able to find too much in the way of kills.
Ooh. He didn't see it before, but Red 2 just having the instincts can see that they're posturing a little bit too aggressively. So nice call from him.
Able to back off. Monkeys, though, he could be targeted up instead.
Pingu.
Yeah, Pingu's going to get himself caught here. The silence comes through into the fissure, into the Cold Snap, and Pingu, yeah, he should die, but Red 2 wants in for the fight. They're going to be able to take down both, and Pingu's actually not dead yet. He's not dead at all. Pingu will live. Both Jubei and I Annihilate go down, and now Flea, he's not going to be able to get out. He's hit up by the Searing Chains. Boris, though, is making his way over. I don't know if this is a great idea. Oh, great idea, but they miss with the RP. Here comes Boris in with the Eclipse, but no. Everybody backs off. They're going to just sort of wait this one out. The Eclipse comes to an end, and now Boris has to get himself away, but he's not going to make it. Yeah, the second he tries to TP, he's just going to get it immediately canceled, so he has to fight, and he's not going to win.
It's very close, but do we see the AA blast? No, we don't, but oh no, we do. He's trying to get the ulti top maybe? Or no, he's trying to kill
He's sending it all the
Giant.
way to the base. There's going to
Um
be the Tracer
he
into the
wants red
fountain.
too, but
Nope.
just a little bit too smart and not having the TP, so playing against him a little bit. But yeah, I don't know why Jubei didn't use the Ice Blast initially on the kill on Pingu when he did get orchided on the low ground. Kind of felt like it was necessary. They didn't have that much damage, but now SMD, he's got Tingle King here, but here come the TPs.
Yeah, this Lesh should still be in some trouble. Scourge will be taken down. Tornado not going to catch on to Tingle, but they are still trying to track. But Tingle at this point is getting over to his teammates, and Monkeys he may regret this a little bit. Realizing how many heroes are there, he's going to sort of maybe not fall back, but at least sort of slow down his rate of advancement. So no secondary fight, but that's still a pick onto the Lesh.
Yeah, a pick onto the Lash, going to slow it down a little bit more, and you're not able to push into these towers very easily. Without that Lash track, Ember Spirit is not known to be one of the best tower hitters, but now, secure back mid.
Monkeys.
Oh no, he missed the bushwhack, but here we go.
There's going to be that sharpshooter coming in for the break. Annihilate, though, responding with the cold snap into the Orchid, into the Ice Blast, so Red 2 is dead. Monkeys, though, not actually out of here just yet, but at this point he's got so many armor stacks, I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal for him as he does fall back. Flea, though, they want to be careful. Tingle goes in for the skewer. But Flea, okay, going to drop down the ult. No one's really here to protect him, though, so that was just sort of a desperation move, trying to get himself out of danger, and it's not really going to be enough. So, TOOBASED will fall back. They do have to sacrifice that Earthshaker, but they get themselves a kill onto Red 2. That's really the kill they've been trying to secure for what feels like the last maybe 8 minutes.
And it's just good positioning from him and TOOBASED playing into the vision a little bit on the cut side. They've had those nice ward sentry combos. There is a ward placed in a sentry right now, but they haven't made that rotation over to the pit in a while. But having this nice ward in the jungle they see, I don't think they know about the Invoker bottom. They just know about Boris. And they could smoke and maybe luckily find 2 here. They have to be very careful, though. They're going to break, and there is that nighttime advantage.
Tingle jumping forward. He gets silenced up immediately, but Annihilate now rooted in place. He's not going to get out of this. Okay, maybe he is. He's trying to get himself away, but the Sleight of Fist will lock him down. Boris, though, did pop the Eclipse. That's enough to take down Tingle King in exchange. Now they want to chase onto Giant as well. Does Jubei have anything? Not really, and now he's just going to get locked down. But his death gets Boris away. He's able to TP himself back mid, so that's just going to be really a sacrificial play to get the Luna out of there, but I don't know, it just felt like the Invoker sort of gets caught out in no man's land on that one, reveals himself for the silence, but that basically offers himself up as a sacrifice.
Yeah, and it's just pretty unlucky. I thought something like that was going to happen, and you were able to trade out Tingle King, so Boris is continuing to accelerate pretty quickly, but sort of a confused build coming out from him. He's got the Manta and the BKB queued up. He is just going to buy out the BKB part, so not having that Manta style, he isn't going to be able to force out these lanes as nearly as easily as he otherwise would with the normal build, but I guess he just feels like he needs to fight, like he needs to be there for his team. But at the same time, Cut, they have RP, they have Edict, they have a Deso on this Ember Spirit. They are not very magic damage based.
Tingle, skewering in, going for the Shockwave into the Horn Toss. And there's going to be the RP, but the Ice Blast does connect to point-blank range, but at this point, Annihilate just too low on health. They're going to be able to take him down. Jubei dropping low as well, but Monkeys is into the fight. He is going to be able to sort of carry this one forward for his teammates. Boris wanted in as well, but the Spike Carapace actually locks him down. He will pop the BKB, though, and now that's a problem. Red 2, he jumped in, but he doesn't actually have any magic immunity, but he jumps into Monkeys, and the Timbersaw is going to be able to punish him. Now Monkeys wants more. Chakram coming in, hitting up onto 2, but at this point, he doesn't really have the mana for this, and his teammates weren't following after him. So TOOBASED will pull it back, but they managed to turn that into a pretty solid trade for themselves, 2 for 2, but they get nearly twice the gold of their opponents as they get 2 cores, as opposed to Invoker and Ancient Apparition falling on their own side.
And take that back completely. Boris with the BKB, it's the sort of disruptive play. We saw it earlier today when Sammy Boy built it on that Naga Siren, where you don't expect this item to be built. You expect the other 2 first, and sort of disjoints the play coming in from the cut, and they aren't able to kill him. Yet again, though, we are seeing Annihilate's game sort of slow down as he is still trying to make these plays, but they are sort of playing up on him with that Horn Toss, with that Next Assassin. But if they're able to find Scourge, he just saw him in the way with the Ghost Walk, but Flea
blinks in, they get the Chakram down, the silence is there, the stuns will follow, and Scourge is just straight up gone. Good play in from TOOBASED. As you mentioned, there was maybe a half a second where he sort of spotted that Ghost Walk, but it's not quite enough for him to fall back, and I Annihilate picks up his 10th kill here. So, I mean, you mentioned things were kind of slowing down for him, maybe item-wise, but if he can continue to build up kills in the way that he has so far, he's going to be able to catch up as Boris. Okay, turning around with the Eclipse. Pingu wishing he could be anywhere else at that moment as he realizes he kind of missed his shot. Boris just pops Magic Immunity and the ult, and not only will he stay alive, but Pingu is the one who sort of gets picked off.
Yep, and second time, that BKB does feel pretty nice. They're going to try and make this a play onto the mid tower, but I think Monkeys is just a little bit too far away for them to do this with full confidence. But 2 heroes dead on the cut. If they want to get back here, okay, they're just going to instantly TP back here.
They are not letting that tower go without a fight, so Scourge and Tingle into it. They've got the blink in the blink in the RP. They do catch Jube. He did get off the Ice Blast, though, so that's actually, never mind. It's not going to matter. I thought maybe Flea would look for this. He does have the Echo coming back up, but there's no cores.
If he sees the Leshrac in the wave, no, he's not going to risk it. Doesn't want to waste his spell.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if it would have been enough anyway, but Flea will hold. And as we were sort of saying, there weren't any core heroes there to follow it up. So if you go for that play and you don't get it, you've basically just handed over a free kill and you've put your ult on cooldown. So the Earthshaker's not going to get too greedy with it, which, you know, fair enough. It's probably the smarter play, but would have liked to see that sort of exciting maneuver from Flea. But Flea, very much a disciplined player, right? You don't really see him get too greedy on really any of his heroes. So he is going to be the sort of smarter player in almost every situation. But down in that bottom lane, Pingu was sort of prowling around, and the spidey senses were tingling. They've dropped down a Sentry Ward now, so if he tries to get himself back up, they will spot him out as Timber. Okay, across the river, but there's... Oh, no, the silence. Yeah, Tingle's in trouble now. He's going to be taken down. Nothing along the lines of a BKB for him to bail out of that play, and Monkey's acting as the bait. It's a little bit strange for the Timber to be the one hero sort of standing out in front as the bait. You'd think the cut would sort of back away from him rather than charge in, but Tingle wanted it, and he thought he was sort of pushing into maybe a 2v1 in his team's favor. Instead, he gets taken down. The tier 1 tower falls, and TOOBASED into the Roche pit. First Roche of the game, looking to go their way.
And just perfectly timed. They have it, and yeah, there's not much they can do about it. They aren't going to get those stacks up on the Timbersaw, so he's not really going to be a target either. Pingu could maybe venture a little bit closer to the bit, but you've got Jube in these trees. They do see him. He could die, yeah, pretty for free. And Giant, let's see. Yeah, he's just going to go for the kill instead. Red 2 could try for the steal, but a little bit
not going to
too
get
slow.
it. Now he's silenced up, stunned as well.
Flea.
Echo slam from Flea. And they've got it. Red 2 will fall. Pingu's going to have to fall back. Tingle, he's got the RP here, so maybe he goes for it. He gets the Horn Toss down into the Skewer, into the RP, connecting onto about 2, but I don't know, really. They get Flea. Can they get Monkeys as well? Yes, they can. Impale comes out. They lock him down. Tingle's able to find the kill. So it's not in onto Boris or I Annihilate. They can't take the Aegis out of his hands immediately, but you lose Red 2 and you get 3 kills. That's, I mean, that's pretty good, all things considered. They're not going to take Roshan, so they at least get the next best thing.
Yeah, and really just Tingle King putting his team on his back. It got a little bit hairy there because he didn't immediately channel that Diabolic Edict, maybe not thinking they were able to get that kill. But really, the saving play coming in, whoop, that's Roche Timer for anybody who wanted to know. But has been that Orchid coming in from the Invoker where you are able to save your teammates, and you saved it 2 or 3 times, getting that sort of disconnect play on the Nyx Assassin, on the Ember Spirit, and the Magnus, but just gets a little bit separated from his teammates. Him and Boris went down to the south. Meanwhile, everybody else tried to push up that ramp, get that advantageous position, and 100% punished for it. So not too much changing across the map, but Scourge was able to get that BKB, even if that fight was going to turn sour. So really, I don't think there was many chances for him to die in that engagement.
Scourge able to get that little bit of a split push play going. Takes a tier 2 down bot, and, well, the question is, where does he go now? He's not going for the high ground. That's just straight up not happening here, but could look to make a rotation, could link back up with his teammates. He does have both Pingu and Giant here, so maybe they look for this onto the Timber. That just seems like a low percentage play, though. I really don't think they're going to be able to get that kill. The Timber is underneath his tier 3, and he's holding on to that Shroud, so kill potential low. They're just going to sort of hang out, try and establish some extra vision with the Obs Ward being thrown down, and Red 2 is actually down here as well, so maybe they do try to turn this into a high ground push after all.
Yeah, and they could. That's the only option to get them back in the base. Neither team, I think, has glyph here, unless again my game is bugged. But they could really just go up high ground. I think, yeah, both are on cooldown. One for 2 minutes 25 seconds, the other for 4.5. And the Diabolic Edict does push slightly faster. And yeah, they're gonna have to respect this. They can punish him though. If we can chain him down before BKB, gotta be so careful though.
They do fall back in time. Flea didn't really want to blink in for that ult just yet, so they back themselves away, but it's a nice bit of damage onto the tower, to be honest, and it accomplishes sort of what they wanted as well by forcing their opponents off of their own side of the map. So both of the
Ember
pull...
Spirit comes back. Look,
Wow.
he can always stay. He drops the Remnant bottom, so really all of the pressure is still there for the cut to maintain in this bottom lane.
Annihilate, though, is now TP'd back as well. So at this point, it looks like TOOBASED are simply going to give up on that top push and just sort of regroup on their own side. So
Watch the Timber.
yep, there's going to be the opening. Monkeys is trying to dance around the skew. Oh, God.
He misses everything. 3 spells.
Okay, there's the bushwhack
boy.
finally, but it's still not really going to be enough. And at this point, the reinforcements have arrived. This fight's going to turn. Scourge has to pop the BKB and look to TP himself away, and he is going to be able to make his way out of there, but now Boris is surging forward. Can he catch anyone? No, he can't. But to be honest, at that point, that feels like a win still for TOOBASED. There were 4 spells maybe missed onto that Timber, so Monkey's just sort of danced his way around until his reinforcements arrive, and the cut just had to sort of scatter.
Yeah, and it's a little bit strange because you want to do the horn toss, but he blinked behind him, and then he didn't feel confident enough to
no.
do the skewer, and now red 2. He has BKB, but okay, Flea. Just there with the punish. And now you have a full Scotty built up on this Luna, and no glyph for another 3 minutes. There is sort of the split push play, but nobody's creep cutting this mid wave. This is going to be high ground.
And with Annihilate now just about maxing out the Exort, that Alacrity, the Luna just tears through it. That tier 2 tower was gone. Tier 3 tower is under attack as well, and the Alacrity is going to be sort of deployed again. So Boris really has the means to just sort of break his way through. Monkeys Forever will stand on the front line to tank up, and I don't know what the cut can do here without the Ember. There's no red 2, and his buyback is not available, so they've just got to wait out 15 seconds, but in 15 seconds, they're going to lose the middle lane of Rax.
Yeah, and they need to make a play onto Boris. It is gone in 15 seconds here, so this Aegis, I mean, Pingu told us before, 29-39, and here we go. If they're able to get a play going, here we go. They need to keep him alive. They don't want to kill him. Everybody hold.
Try to hold as
RPM.
long as you can, Boris. He's going to lose it. There it is. They can go. They're pushing in now. Boris dropping low. BKB not going to save him as he will be taken down, and this is exactly the moment that the cut needed. As, okay, they've got 2. They're looking for more. Monkeys turning around, going for the Chakram. They miss with the Bushwhack, though, so they're not going to be able to lock this Timbersaw down, and now you see Flea and Annihilate waiting. There's going to be the move, blinking in. The Echo down onto 2. Pingu and Scourge both taken out, and now Giant on the run as well, trying to get back to his base. They're not going to be able to lock him down, but Annihilate snipes out Tingle with the Sunstrike, and the timing was fantastic. It was perfect for the cut. The problem is, taking down the Luna wasn't actually enough. They needed to be able to win the fight that followed after it, and that's where things sort of fell apart for them. But, well, actually, I'm not really sure there is a but. They do get some kills, but it's still going to cost them pretty heavily. 3 heroes dead, full lane of Rax taken mid.
Yeah, and it's the heroes where your BKBs are going to start to get lower and lower, especially losing those Bloodstone charges on the left track. That does not feel great. The best thing for you is that Red 2 was able to get most of those kills, was able to get a little bit of speed under him. I'm surprised they didn't tip Boris, honestly, after Pingu all chatted that Roche timer, because that was pretty well timed. But the BM, they need all hands on deck. They don't have time to tip. This game is a little bit too close for them. But the Invoker continues to be sort of a thorn in their side, especially hitting that nice Meteor Hammer, or not Meteor Hammer, but Meteor combo out of the Deafening Blast. And now I don't really think TOOBASED need to do anything different. You could wait for that next Roche before you go up the high ground, but this bottom tier 2 should probably get cleaned up in the next 4 or 5 minutes. And at the same time, if you're on the cut, you need to be a little bit worried. Tingle King, while you had to commit that reverse polarity, you had to commit the RP to get that control when the Aegis was going down. It's just a one-man RP. That's all you can do. So if we can see something else, something bigger coming from him, we might see a smoke up coming in from the cut. They need to get something going. Otherwise, I think TOOBASED are going to be a little bit too comfy farming towards their next items in that next Roche.
Yeah, now's the moment for the cut. I mean, the RPs get back up in a few seconds, and you've sort of pushed your opponents maybe not all the way back, but at least immediately sort of off of your base. So I don't really think there's much to be gained by them just sort of sitting back and trying to farm up. They need to be proactive on the map right now, but they're not really grouped up for this. We see them sort of spreading out instead. It's a bit of a split push play down bot as Pingu and Giant are sort of looking to sort of push this lane out. So this just feels, I don't know, almost kind of like a wasted opportunity for them. I know they're still down by 10,000 net worth, but it feels like this was your moment to keep pushing your way forward instead of sort of backing away, even though they sort of came out on the wrong side of the last fight.
Yeah, and now with Roshan hopefully respawning in 4 seconds here if you're on the 2-base side. If you're on the cut side, you probably wanted to respawn a little bit slower, but now we have that Satanic being finished by Boris, so if this fight does decide to continue on, he has that heal, he has that almost third life if he's able to get this Aegis, and honestly, once he gets this Butterfly, I'm not sure they're going to have enough damage and to really just kill this Luna and actually flee. Human Word.
And he gets away.
What a blink. So clutch.
Oh, okay, Red 2.
Continuing.
Yeah, he wants in. They bring down Jubei, and they've got Boris hit up by the bushwhack, but where's the damage to follow? They're not really able to bring him down right now. Red 2 sort of has to navigate around this fissure, but there's the RP in from Tingle King. Skewer pulls them all back, but do they have the damage to finish this one off? Yes, they do. Boris taken down. Monkey's in some trouble as well. Sunstrike, meanwhile, coming in from Annihilate. Not actually going to do a lot of good, and now Annihilate has to fall back. His BKB is going to be popped as he is looking to make his retreat, and so too is Monkeys as he gets into the river, but the Horn Toss is going to knock him back. The Skewer pulls him onto the high ground, and Red 2 will bring him down. The cut, that is exactly what they needed. They smoke up, they push out, they catch 2-base in a position where they're just really not quite anticipating a secondary fight. It's a nice sort of breakup from Flea initially, but 2-base kind of assumed at that point that the cut would not chase them any further, and that proved to be unbelievably incorrect.
Yeah, and you thought that with the vision they had on Red 2, maybe they were able to get that turn play, maybe they were able to disjoint and disconnect the team fight on the cut side, but Flea was just a little bit too far away, and without that shard, once he commits to the fissure, you don't have that immediate follow-up. He's not building that shard either, and not being able to get that Satanic off, honestly, just really clutch. Ooh, they're really digging in for Flea here, but they're not going to let him have it.
They are going to push it onto Jubei instead, though. Bushwhack pulls him in. Tingle King with the Shockwave, and that Shockwave is enough to get the kill. So Jubei will be taken down. The cut starting to feel quite a bit more aggressive. They've chopped off about half of this deficit from 10k down to now less than 5,000. So, I mean, they're pushing forward, and if you're 2-based, you're going to need to mouse a response here, but they still need to wait for all their heroes to be back in. Boris is coming up now, but the AA is still dead for 25. 10 seconds for the Timbersaw as well, but once they're back up, I think we need to see them try and do something, some sort of response being mounted here, because if they don't, the cut are pushing out across the map, and Roshan has respawned.
And fortunately, the Roshan capabilities of the Cuts lineup are basically zero. They are not very adept at killing them, even though you do have that Desolator on the Ember Spirit, just sort of a band-aid on the wound. You really can't do it quickly. 2-based are much superior in that regard, and we should probably be seeing a smoke coming in from 2-base. We haven't seen that Echo Slam. We haven't seen that sort of easy commit onto 1 or 2 heroes. And again, Tingle King continues to be very impressive on this Magnus, and even though you can sort of poke and prod at it, there's really no reason for 2-base to go to the pit. Ooh, Flea. Again, he's up here. Monkeys.
They're going after Monkeys instead. Can they actually bring him down? They're channeling out that Sharpshooter. We'll be able to get the hit, but now the Ice Blast coming through as well. It hits onto Pingu while he's burrowed, so I think he's going to be okay here. He should really just have enough HP to survive it, but he's going to sort of chill out and wait. But Boris, he's pushing forward.
Yeah. Ooh.
Twisted Beam comes in. Flea responding there with that fissure. They're going to try to bring Tingle King down, but BKB activated. Magnus not dead yet, but Boris with the physical damage doesn't care. He'll take down one. Scourge in some trouble as well. That active from the Bloodstone really did not do him much good, as he does still get taken down. Meanwhile, Red 2 did get onto the backline. He's able to take down both of the supports and then jump his way out, but he has to leave his own support behind, as Pingu just sort of left holding the bag, and 2-base bring him down. 3 for 2 trade in their favor, and I don't know. At least Red 2 is able to get those 2 kills on the backside, but now they lose control of the pit, and you said before, the cut really didn't have the potential. 2-base, though, certainly do.
Yep, and they're going to take it up. We'll see if the shard gets passed over. Both the Flamethrower and the Lucent Beam are quite good probably edges out for that Lucent Beam, though. Gives you that vision to finally find that annoying rat, get the Hoodwink out of the game. But again, an Aegis going to be up on your Luna. This is another situation where now TOOBASED are going to be able to siege. They're going to be able to be more confident up on your high ground. And unfortunately, just Tingle King gets spotted by that Luna nighttime vision. She had a really good idea of where he was playing. The entire enemy team did, and they immediately pounce. Even though he gets that BKB off, he was already, I think, maybe 50% HP, 10% mana. He really just let himself get a little bit too low there. And now, again, TOOBASED, they just need a full reset, maybe backing up for lanes. If anything, there is Glyph available, so they don't want to commit too hard, but they want to run at your high ground again. This is their next shot.
Yeah, they know they should have a rather sizable advantage sort of heading into the next fight, so they're looking to take advantage of it. They want to sort of push as far as they can. Meanwhile, Red 2, he did finish off an Aghanim Scepter just a little while back, so he does have those upgraded Remnants now, which is certainly going to give him more in the way of maneuverability, right? But I don't know how much he's going to be willing to sort of throw the extra Remnants in for damage. It is going to be useful, but it really seems like he's more focused in on that sort of right-click build at the moment. But either way, makes him a little bit stronger. He actually grabs the Shard here as well, so now he has the extra Remnants and the DOT from them, which, I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, it's basically a free sort of mini Radiance as Flea. That was so much more dangerous than I think he ever realized. He saw about 1 or 2 heroes, but there was the Burrowed Nyx Assassin right next to him, so he jumps out before he can get caught, but that was really just all a distraction. Boris was able to take the tier 2 tower while all of that was going down.
And Pingu really has been quite obnoxious, and now we saw it before, but we're going to get it on this side of the map, where the Split Earth is very difficult to push into. He actually got the Split Earth radius this time around. I don't think he had it in that previous game, so it's going to be even bigger, even more obnoxious. Okay, we'll see if he gets any CDR.
That's a long skewer there onto Boris. They pull him all the way in, and they do burn the Aegis, so
they have RP too.
Strong play to start it off. Jubei, meanwhile, taken out as well. The RP will come through. The BKB was actually popped early, though, so Boris is still going to be okay.
Another
still
skewer,
holding
though.
That Satanic as well. Okay. Hurricane Pike got Boris away from that one. Some weird interactions there with the spells, but now Red 2 into the fight. Boris in some trouble. He's going to try to pop the Satanic and find his way through this as Flea comes in with the Echo Slam as well. Pingu will go down, and Boris is starting to heal back up, but the skewer will still be there. Oh, no. Giant. That is a very bad time for the DC, as he is going to be dropping out. But before we see the game resumed, Boris is already dead.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do. The Echo Slam wasn't enough. He will have Fissure in one here to maybe try and bail out his Timbersaw, but they just overstayed their welcome a little bit. And again, Tingle King, the key player for his teammate, having that incredibly long skewer, gets him underneath the tier 4 towers, has to pop his PKB out of Aegis. If he doesn't, he's just immediately dead. And then they follow, they chase him, and they don't give him too many Satanic hits off. The Ember Spirit is able to find the Luna, and now we're in this game where Boris doesn't have buyback. They might be able to push down some lanes here. We'll have to see if Monkeys is able to escape. He is active on the Bloodstone and a Cheese, but I can't imagine he's going to last long.
He's going to get stunned up here. There's that Bloodstone active. He's trying to fight, and actually, he's not doing a bad job of it. Pops the Cheese as well, pushing forward with the Flamethrower. Can he actually get Giant, though? No. Missing with the Chakram. Now Tingle. Okay. In with the Skewer. Shockwave comes through as well. Pingu even hits him up with the Impale, and now... Yeah, this is a problem. No mana for him. Scourge is coming back in. They're going to look for the Sunstrike meanwhile. Oh, Giant with the Sharpshooter knockback onto himself actually avoids that Sunstrike, and both Monkeys and Flea will be taken down. Big fight inside of the base for the cut, and once again we see simply TOOBASED just not quite able to get over that hump.
Yeah, and Tingle King just so good with this Magnus. He's banking that refresher now, and at the point that Boris's BKB is at, he could very well just get owned. He could just get taken in RP'd, I guess, twice now, and we'll see what he gets at 25 on this Magnus, because now it's the cut on the aggressive. They're going to be able to push into these towers. You actually see Scourge pick up the tome. They want that 25 Edict. They know that he really is the only hero that's capable of pushing in to those towers and getting really any reasonable amount of damage. But I mean, this Magnus, it's really just carrying them. He's putting the team on his back with these initiations.
Yeah, he has been absolutely, okay, maybe not perfect. We have seen a couple of missed stuns, but about as close to perfect as you could reasonably expect. And the thing is, I mean, he's going for the refresher here, right? But it's it hasn't just been the RP plays. He's just gotten in with the casual horn tosses here and there, and every sort of piece of his kit is working to their advantage, and now they're up onto the high ground. They're looking for this one. Tier 3 tower is going to get burned through pretty quickly, and now the Ice Blast, I mean, it hits Pingu, but he does pop the Carapace. Jubei has to be careful, falling back. Meanwhile, is that the boomerang out from the Hoodwink? Yeah,
that is the boomerang, and that's also not the shard from Fleet. That was just a very, very long Fissure. But yeah, they are getting some scary items. He's had the Aghanim Scepter on Pingu for quite a while now, but still, it doesn't stop it from being any less annoying. And now we are seeing those much bigger items, Hex coming out for the Leshrac, Daedalus being worked on by Red 2, and again, that refresher where now, if the Luna is not careful, she is going to get double RP'd, and if you have the control, she might just die 100-0, and even though she's continuing to get tankier, now she's going to have that Illusionist cape, going to be even more obnoxious, finishes up the Hurricane Pike. Boris has a Hex queued up, which is a little bit strange. I don't know if we're going to see it sort of stuck on that hero, but again, the cut, they're having their fighting chances here. They pulled ahead in kills, actually, just because Fleet and Annihilate, while their KDAs are impressive, while they have been impactful, it doesn't feel like they've been impactful in maybe the past 10 minutes or so. And now you do have a Hex completed up on that Invoker. We'll have to see if he's able to chain everybody down, because the cut, they've been so good at covering each other's bases.
Yeah, that's been a large part of the reason here. We were talking about sort of Tingle King starting a lot of these off, and he has been. He's been sort of initiating with just an incredible amount of consistency, but it's not enough to win the fights in and of itself. They need the sort of execution beyond that point, and the cut have sort of done a good job, as you said, of sort of covering each other's weaknesses. They're really just sort of overlapping in a lot of circumstances where TOOBASED maybe could find the kill, but to do so they have to put their own heroes in jeopardy, and the risk so far has not really paid off for them. But we do now see simply TOOBASED pushing their way forward with that Illusionist cape. These illusions from Luna, they do hit quite a bit harder, as that tier 3 tower is already dropping down. Not going to be able to finish it off just yet, though, as the stun comes through. The Bushwhack is going to be applied as well, but this is a casual push. They don't really have to care too much about it. It's just illusions and Forge Spirits making their way in.
Yeah, and tower, now 51 HP. You do have the Split Earths sort of creating visual chaos, but the tower will fall, and they do just get to be set up here. Monkeys Forever is going to show mid now, so you have to be a little bit careful about that immediate jump coming in, but I think if you are the cut side, you want to finish a few of these items here. You want buyback plus these items, so they are just barely out of reach. But at the same time, TOOBASED, they want to keep you in their base. If you're stuck in the base on the cut, they know that they're not killing you. They know that they honestly have better late game on TOOBASED. It's just getting to that point where you get that Aghanim Scepter on the Invoker. You maybe get that shard on the Earthshaker. Not the Ags, not really the biggest thing anymore. But instead, he's got a Shadow Blade, meaning that maybe we're going to see one of these fights start off with an Echo Slam, which we really haven't seen in quite a long time.
They've got Boris! Tingle's in there with the RP into the skewer. Yeah, they still need to lock him down. Boris getting away with the Hurricane Pike for now. Scourge tries to go for the stun, not going to connect, but Red 2, he's in there, BKB active. They take him down Jubei, but they need Boris. They hit him up, though, with that Sharpshooter, but yeah, that Satanic going to be healing him up a little bit, and Boris is still alive. He'll pop the Eclipse now as well as Red 2. Needs to be careful. He is chunking so significantly, but Tingle in with another skewer that's going to pull him away. Red 2, though, will still fall. Fleet comes in for the ult. Will be able to find the kill, but that left Boris without any backup. So they're going to be able to bring him down. Boris has fallen. Monkey should be dying here as well. And it looks like the cut have managed to win this fight. There are some buybacks available on the side of TOOBASED, though, so if they try to push their way forward, they may still have some problems, but they're at least going to be able to take that engagement. 5 kills going their way. A couple of buybacks do have to be committed on their own side, but they're going really just as far forward as fast as they can right now.
Yeah, and Boris, or sorry, not Boris, Red 2, a WASD player, he tried to slot out that gem, tried to get that Orb of Corrosion out, so he does just eat the one-man Echo Slam. But after this glyph, there is nothing stopping you from pushing into this building. They don't want to pop all of their buybacks here. It's a little bit too big of an opening, but there's actually no buyback on the Earthshaker or the Invoker, so they have to be very careful. At the same time, though, the cut, they committed a lot there. Now the Ember Spirit and the Leshrac are both on cooldown, so if they get caught out, if they get sort of picked off by that Ice Blast, it really was just the very simple Ice Blast onto Scourge where he ate a little bit too much damage, and even though Boris was in, he just manned up, he was able to take that fight, and that's where this game is going to really even out. And with this Roshan respawning as well, And oh, they've got so many items now. That was before Daedalus on the Ember. That was before Hex and Refresher coming out for both Tingle King and Scourge McDuck. So I think now the game is going to sort of meet up at this turning point at the Roche pit. The third Roche, this could be it for either team.
Yeah, whoever controls Roshan may very well dictate the outcome of this game. So we'll see how it goes. That's a scan, though, in from the cut that's going to reveal the presence of heroes sort of in that west side jungle. So the cut know that they're here, and they're going to push their way forward. Can they get into position? Monkeys was standing a little bit far forward. Pingu, though, he wanted to go further in, but Flea is going to be able to lock him down. The Hex now comes through as well, but there's Red 2 trying to jump in onto the back line. The RP comes out as well. They've locked down Annihilate, but they need to actually kill him. They haven't done so just yet as Annihilate's able to fall back. Red 2, though, does at least take down Jubei, so they do find that kill, but they need to actually just get in onto targets here. They're going to try to hit up the Timbersaw. Jubei, meanwhile, buying back, looking for that ult into the fight,
no,
but
Boris.
that's a problem. Boris going to get hit up by... Going to get hit up by a Flea. He's in with the Echo Slam onto 2. Tingle King will go down. Scourge is going to fall as well. Annihilate does end up dying a second time, though, but Red 2, what have you done? He jumps in. He tries to go for the lockdown. He is going to be able to help his teammate get the kill onto Boris, though, with that Split Earth from beyond the grave, but it cost him his own life. Red 2's dead. There's no buyback. Those are the two heroes that we were mentioning. Couldn't really afford to go down, and they are both falling as Giant is now on the run. Fisher, though, locks him down. Monkey's coming in, looking for the shock room. Will be able to throw it down, and Giant will fall. And the cut, I don't know. It was impressive to get some of those kills. They take down Annihilate. They pick off Boris, but they had to use so much in that fight that now... Actually, now I'm not really sure what happens. Flea and Jubei are alive, but without Boris and Annihilate, they can't go in for Roche, so everybody might just sort of sit. Oh,
Tingle.
Sit and
He's
wait.
got the long skewer, but yeah, he's got to keep running. But yeah, he Manta dodged the RP there. If he doesn't do that, this game is very, very, very different. But Manta dodges the RP. Unfortunately, did get clipped by the double splitter. But damn, what a Manta dodge. And really, I don't know.
Whoop.
Okay. Tingle King, yeah, they can't end the game. They can't do really much here. They do have the flamethrower, but Annihilate is going to have to TP in here, probably after pushing out that bottom wave, and then we might just see a very, very painfully slow Megas.
But yeah, that Manta dodge, as you mentioned, absolutely vital. It keeps Boris alive just long enough where Flea was able to sort of jump in with that blink into the Echo Slam. So at that point, yeah, Boris goes down, but the whole fight really turns, and the cut didn't really have the strength to keep it going at that point. So big kills going their way. The problem is you can't get just the big kills. They needed to be able to lock down the supports. They needed to be able to keep Monkeys Forever sort of off of that front line, and they couldn't really do so. So now they're back in a relatively weak position. They've lost the top lane of Rax, and Monkeys, alongside Annihilate, will be pushing into this Roche pit after all, and with Luna back up in about 5 seconds, if they time this up perfectly, Boris may be able to actually get in here to sort of swoop in and just grab himself something like the Aegis just as Roshan goes down.
And they have the tier 2s. They have to come that little bit faster. They've got the ward to scout it out. They don't care. They need to run, but they're not going to get there in time. Just having Monkeys on Annihilate, starting out that Roche, there's no way they get there. Now you've got the Ag Synth. Did he just eat the... Okay. I think he passed it over to... I'm not sure who he passed it over to, actually. Did he
I think the Invoker took it.
Well, there goes your Ags. But that is completely fine, I suppose, because now the field is wiped. If the cut aren't able to handle this Aegis, they're not able to take out that first life very easily, then the game will sort of just end. At the same time, now you actually have that Hex on Boris. He is in. He's committed for it to sort of help his team chain stun one hero from 100 to 0, something that'll definitely help out Flea, as now you don't need to commit that Fisher to be your leadoff stun. But really, TOOBASED, we're seeing almost for the 4th time in a row this game really slow down, and we're going to see if TOOBASED are just going to bleed the cut out, or if TOOBASED, they still have those big plays, they still have those impressive heroes, and really in 2 minutes here, the board is going to be reset a little bit buyback status-wise.
Yeah, how are we looking right now? There's going to be a couple that'll linger for maybe a little bit longer. You see the Ancient Apparition at 4 minutes, and Tingle King sort of in a similar position, but 4 out of 5 buybacks will be available, as you said, in about 2 minutes for both sides, so we'll see how this one plays out. We may just end up waiting that long. as we are getting that level 25 up on Annihilate, opted for the Radial Deafening Blast. So he's going to be able to get in there and just sort of hit up multiple heroes, set himself up for the follow-up with either the Cataclysm or the Meteor, and if that combo hits, then the cut might just be straight up losing some of these heroes. The two supports are still not particularly tanky, so they could be taken down fairly quickly, although, as I said, that's assuming that you get that full combo with the Invoker, which, if Pingu and Giant are sort of playing wisely in terms of their positioning, I don't think you really can hit both of them up for that much damage in one go. But we do see TOOBASED now starting to push their way a little bit further forward. They want to try and lay siege to that last lane of racks, but I mean, the Splitters are coming through constantly. Pingu's already burrowed up here, so I don't think they're really going to be able to do all that much. The creeps can maybe get some chip damage every once in a while, but they would really have to just straight up commit with their heroes if they want it in.
And really now, having the splitters, we'll see if we get 3 in a row. I think he can only maintain 2 right now. You need a little bit more CDR, but that Spell Prism 100% helps. But it really is obnoxious for them to ever get in here. And you see Pingu sitting in sort of the outer ring of those split earths, just causing even more chaos. And it looks like both teams are going to wait for those buybacks to reset before they make any game-deciding decisions. And actually, Tingle, oh boy,
that could have been huge
toss
if he'd have gotten that pick off, but the Monkeys is able to get himself away. And I don't know. I mean, if they could have gotten that, he does have enough money for the buyback, but it's on cooldown for another minute, so that would have been a big pick off. There was no one really there to sort of back him up in time, but I don't know. Tingle, he's been making so many plays for his team there, but that one he's going to be a little bit off the mark. But if you're the cut, you just go back to sort of waiting and watching. You're not really going to be the ones to force this one out. You're about 90 seconds away from that Aegis being reclaimed, so they might as well just keep on waiting and see if TOOBASED are going to be bold enough to sort of go in there and try to force it as Flea. Did he just? Yes, he did. Okay, Refresher Orb up on the Earthshaker, so he's got himself that sort of double play, 2 ults, multiple fissures coming out as well. Could honestly sort of wreak havoc on the cut lineup if they're not sort of popping those BKBs early.
Yeah, and with the Refresher, that's just exactly it. You're going to be able to get that instant burst, and with how the buyback status has sort of been reset here, well, Tingle King's watching top, but if you have that Refresher for that secondary spell, then you can kill a hero twice, and you will be seeing that coming out from Flea, whether or not he's going to waste it or if he's going to try and greed out for it. But I think, yeah, Monkeys Forever gave up the fact that he was smoked, so unable to make any plays here. Aegis going to expire in 30 seconds, and honestly, anything goes at this point. We're going to come up on that 60-minute mark pretty close here. Roche is going to respawn, or might respawn in 3 minutes. See if that's the long timer. Of course, short timer would definitely help out TOOBASED, as the cut might get a little bit more confident after those T5s are dropped. But the cut really don't feel comfortable leaving the safety of this burrowed Nyx Assassin and these 2 or 3 split earths pretty much always going on now in this bottom lane.
It's almost, I don't know, hypnotic, let's say. Just the casual, it's like a drum beat, just going over and over and over again as he just keeps on spamming them out. But let's Jesus, turn the camera elsewhere. Just gonna get sort of caught out watching and listening to those splitters. But there's really not a whole lot else to do. Simply TOOBASED, as you said, they don't want it. They don't want to go in right now. They're just looking for their moment. But I mean, it's not going to come. I don't think the cut are really just going to take that chance right now. They really do know that TOOBASED have to come to them, so they're going to sit back and wait, and we only will really see them sort of venture out here when we hit that 60-minute mark. They're just going to probably send up maybe 1 or 2 heroes at the most to try and farm some tier 5 items, and then depending on what we get from that, that is going to sort of dictate the way that the rest of the game goes. But for now, it feels like it's just going to be waiting and watching.
And that's where maybe you would have wanted that Ag synth to go over towards Boris's Luna. I feel like that Ags is one of those sort of game enders where suddenly you can't walk over to a certain area. Looks like Giant's going to crash out again. And I think what happened there is maybe the Invoker, trying to keep up with the other cores, thought that if he had an Ag synth, he'd be able to eat the other Ags and it just gives him the gold back, which used to be a thing, but I don't think it is anymore. Yeah, 1:30 a.m. Dotes, Monkeys Forever on that wholesome sleep schedule is incredibly unhappy, but this game really has no sense of ending. It feels like everybody's sort of just spinning their wheels. No, neither team wants to make the game losing play.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Time is now meaningless, really. Like we're just stuck in a weird sort of vacuum. Time is irrelevant. It's just Dota. But we do have Giant back into the game here, and as much as I say it, time not irrelevant at all. We're coming up on that 60-minute mark, so really I don't see anything that could end the game before that point. So the tier 5 should be coming out here, and we always sort of get a little bit excited seeing those tier 5 items. Very rarely get to see them, and they are unbelievably powerful. So it's always nice to sort of see how quickly things can shift depending on who gets what. So until then, it's just going to be a farm fest. Boris is going to work his way towards a refresher orb here, so not even really sure what he would switch out at this point. He's running out of space both in the backpack and the inventory, so he is just about 9 slotted at this point. But how close is he to 30? He's sitting at 28 right now. Is he the highest level? The Timbersaw is actually slightly higher, 29.5, so Monkeys is closing in on the extra Whirling Death attribute reduction, which, if that matters at all in this game, I'm actually going to be kind of surprised.
Yeah, really just making Tingle King cry even more, but he wasn't really crying in the first place. Maybe after missing that horn toss twice, he would be crying a little bit, but again, it feels like it doesn't matter too much. However, the cut, they are venturing out a little bit, trying to get something going for them. If it is just Pingu getting some vision out, trying to get any semblance of map control back on their side. But that is all that this was meant to accomplish, and that's what they got, but really didn't gain too much from that.
Would like to see how much this 57-minute bounty rune is worth, though. 135 each. Okay. Still not really massive, but they're at least able to get it, and now they are continuing to sort of establish some vision for themselves in that east side jungle. So they are going to work. Meanwhile, the Nyx has the... Yeah, he has the unobstructed pathing there with his level 25 talent, so he's just going to be zipping around. Now that they're actually out of the base, he can use that talent for, you know, actual benefit. When they were just sort of stuck in their base and he was burrowed up on the tier 3, wasn't really going to do too much for him, but now they're actually sort of eyeing up that middle lane. They want to try and go for Monkeys, as they will hit him up with a horn toss into the skewer. Do they commit the RP for this as well? Not just yet. They're actually going to hit him with a sharpshooter. They could just straight up get this kill. I'm kind of surprised that they backed themselves away. There were reinforcements coming, but I feel like they could have gotten that and still backed out, as a Cataclysm will come through. Not going to hit up onto anybody, though, but further to the north, they have caught out Scourge. Scourge is dead. He does have his buyback available, and it feels like they may very well need it, but Red 2 wants to push it onto Annihilate. Doesn't have the vision, though. Sleight of Fist comes through, but it's not actually enough damage for the kill. So it looks like the cut will be sort of falling back and regrouping. It is important to note in that fight, they did not use any of the RPs, so Tingle, he still has that available, as he tried to get onto Flea, but didn't actually hit with the skewer.
And now it's really up to what do TOOBASED want to do? Do they feel comfortable enough to walk out here, as... Ooh, Pingu might be trying to set up on Boris here, but and we are getting to the luxury of all luxury items, as you have 9k gold. Oh, Divine Rapier purchased.
Okay.
Red 2's got it. That was on that courier. I thought something big was on it. So here we go. They're going to try and push in here, try to force the buyback of the Lesh, but he's really only going to buy if he gets a huge RP on Tingle King. There's no other reason to.
I mean, Red 2, I mean, he's got a Daedalus, a Rapier, and he's got the 2 Sleight of Fist charges, so if Tingle gets the RP, if he can sort of latch together 2 or 3 heroes, Red 2 is just going to be able to absolutely burn through all of them as Pingu. Well, he's been spotted here. Can he actually get himself away? No. Flea's not going to be able to hit him. At least not yet.
You stopped dying out of tips.
So, Pingu should be able to get away. He's got a TP, so he should just be getting himself back home. But here comes Boris. Gonna be going after that tier 3. They know Pingu is not here to burrow up, so... Ooh.
Missed the blink, but again, you didn't have to use buyback on your Lesh. I can only imagine in 20 seconds, they're going to go over to the pit. 1,000 crits coming out from that Ember Spirit, and what is that? 741 damage, right click. And we're only going to see more Divine Rapiers, I think, coming in from Red 2, as he does have that gem, so that way that Sleight of Fist can't miss on those invis targets, but I really don't think he cares at this point. Oh, BKB? Timber.
It's a little bit awkward as Monkeys does pop that. His teammates,
With the
though,
Hex, Red
they're
2.
still pushing forward. They got Red 2. Rapier hits the deck. Can they pick it up? It's on the ground. Somebody needs to grab it. Nobody's
Another
gone for
RP?
it so far, but there's going to be another RP in from Tingle, connecting on 3. Red 2 able to recover his Rapier, and now they're back into the fight. Annihilate taken down. Jubei dropping low as well. Tingle, though, does get dropped as Boris is able to fight his way through this, and now Scourge
Red 2.
needs some help. He's getting hit up. Red 2, meanwhile, caught out by Flea with that ult as... That is a long sleight of fist, a second sleight of fist coming in, but he's still not going to make it out. The right clicks are there from Boris, and he bought back for that. He drops the Rapier again, and who's got it? The Luna's got it. That may just be the end of it. As Pingu.
That's 100% it. Yeah, Pingu, college try there. He's going to buy back as well, but you use both RPs to make that play. He was just barely wasn't there. If Tingle King gets it, saves the Ember Spirit, he gets the Sleight of Fist off, maybe that fight ends up a little bit different. You actually have the Aeon Disc on the ground from Boris. He just had to slot it out. And they are actually going to go Roche instead. They're going to get an Aegis on this Luna, probably slot out the Hex at this point, or maybe the BKB. It is on cooldown. Work on that ninth item here. Slot in that Ags as well, you know, might as well get the Synth finally. And then most likely we are going to see the game end as not having those big RPs, or those 2 RPs, even just 1 RP, it just isn't going to matter in time, I don't think, for the cut side, even though they do have that glyph. So it's really just how many split earths can you get down, I think, at this point. Scourge might need to buy a refresher, do something crazy. We need something to hold until Red 2 is back.
97 seconds that they're going to have to try and wait out here, but if TOOBASED... if they go into the Roche pit, that's at least going to buy them a little bit of that time. So I don't know if it's really going to be too much, but we'll have to wait and see. Boris is just going to be able to take this himself as he's going to go after Roshan. His teammates, though, are farming up items. Ex Machina picked up there. And I think that's the only thing they've found so far.
Probably bigger for, yeah, Monkeys is going to take that one. Now you've got BKB, Bloodstone, Aeon Disc, Eternal Shroud. Probably the most actives on his team. Stygian Desolator for Annihilate. Might swap that over to the Luna. We'll see. There's farming all of them up. Ooh, Pirate Hat. That's a fun one. 200 attack speed, if I remember correctly, for that Luna. Probably going to switch that over, I imagine. Oh, it's only 150. The certain T5 nerfs nobody ever tells us about.
Yeah, they're hidden somewhere in those patch notes, I'm sure, but nobody really ever goes that deep. As Roshan will be taken. Boris able to get the Aegis into his hands. They... Where did
you see his
courier
courier
go?
He's got the cheese, he's got the refresher, and the Aeon Disc sitting on his courier. So I guess you could say 12 slotted, maybe.
Jesus.
61k gold lead as well on TOOBASED. Almost a gold lead per minute, but
if
yeah.
TOOBASED can't close this out, then I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what Dota is anymore. They need to be able to close this one out. They get the Fallen Sky into that Luna's hands as well. So really, this is going to be so hard to blow. They get the 30% lifesteal town as well as Boris hits 30, and here they go. They're pushing in for the tier 3 tower, and the cut will need the miracle of all miracles to pull this one off. But they do have everybody back up and running. Buybacks are almost non-existent, but at least they've got 5 in for the fight. But Red 2... I don't know. Without that Rapier, he still does still do a pretty respectable amount of damage, but the second that he sort of gets caught out, if he doesn't have the BKB, if he doesn't have Remnants to jump to, Boris is just going to tear through him.
Tingu still farming, still trying to get those T5s up in his own jungle. And Tingle?
Oh, wait, Tingle, he went for it. He tries to go
he
in.
Missed it.
And now, here it comes. Boris pushing his way forward. Cataclysm will be dropped. Scourge in some trouble, but the Aeon Disc is keeping him alive for now. The Eclipse, though, out from Boris. Burns through Giant, but he's the one hero who did have buyback. So he's back into the fight. Tingle, though, pushing forward, going for the first RP. They've locked down Boris for now. Can they get him a second time? Yes, they can, but the Aegis is going to keep him up. So he doesn't drop the Rapier just yet. He's going to be back into the engagement. Monkeys, meanwhile, going to get hit up by a second RP. Tingle connecting onto 2, but Boris is back into the fight, pushing his way in with that right-click damage, but he's actually not able to hit anyone just yet. He's going to get hexed up instead, locked down by the Bushwhack, but they're not doing enough damage to follow it up. The Impale, though, does come through from Pingu, but now that Radial Deafening Blast locking him down, but the Splitter actually locking Boris down again. Boris, he's dead! Rapier on the deck. Red 2's going to pick it up, and oh my lord, is this the miracle of all miracles? Monkeys forever, now in trouble, hexed up, hit by the Sharpshooter, popping the BKB, though, and looking to Timber Chain himself away, but Red 2 wants back in. That BKB is going to be running out of time. Monkeys has to get away. The Horn Toss is there into the Skewer, and, okay. That's an interesting play from Flea. He drops down the ult, and they do bring down Tingle. Pingu now dead as well, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold this. They are losing Flea. He tries to go for the refresher, but he will be taken down. So Monkeys is really by himself.
Boris is
There is a
back in.
buyback, though. Yeah, buyback from Boris. He's back into the fight. I Annihilate is up here as well, and every buyback is going to be committed. Flea and Jubei using theirs as well. So really, Monkeys is the last man to have buyback available, but he is going to be able to hold the line long enough for his teammates to return, and they will take down the racks. And ET, I'm going to breathe for a second, so if you want to take it away, go ahead.
Oh, of course, I'll finish this one out here as now pushing in Andis popped up by the left strike. Gonna be the refresher coming out from Monkeys Forever as now Boris gonna get his Andis popped as well. He's gonna pop the refresher of his own, pops his BKB, gonna be Red 2 trying to hit up with that Divine Rapier, gonna end up killing Annihilate, but now gonna be Scourge Break Duck falling. Boris gonna move on to that Ancient, and now Flea with the Echo Slam in the back. Meteor Hammer, Fallen Sky, not going to land on anyone, but that is going to be GG. Red 2 dying in the fountain, the full 5-man wipe, the crushing defeat. Just so good, Boris TOOBASED.
Oh my god, what a fight. Boris just sort of carries it. Flea in at the last second there with that absolutely massive Echo Slam, and I mean, you got to give credit to the cut, right? They really just sort of drew that one out for quite some time, but at the end of the day, as we saw in some of the previous matches, to sort of go to this length, it's all about sort of who gets baited into the BKBs and who gets baited into using those buybacks. The cut sort of fall on both fronts, and TOOBASED just too strong, closing it out.
Yeah, TOOBASED, too strong. End of the group stage. An hour and 5-minute long game. Not the longest game we casted, but I mean, they kept us guessing the entire time. Both those teams. Good game.
What a game to close out the group stage, to be honest. It probably should not have gone that long. 65 minutes. Someone should have ended the game before that, but it was not lacking for entertainment. You really can't argue against that point. What a match here from these two to close it out is simply TOOBASED. I mean, a lot of effort had to go into it. Boris with a net worth of 55,500. He was 12 slotted, but at the end of the day, whatever it takes, right? TOOBASED just keep on pushing, they keep on chipping away, and slowly but surely, the cut's resources are drained out, and they do eventually end up falling.
Yeah, nothing more to say. And Tingle King, he tried. He played his heart out. Same with Scourge. He probably has a crevice in his desk where his Q key should be. It just, what a game. What a game to end it off on. Still losing one cut, or one kill behind the cut. So TOOBASED did lose in that regard, but able to kill the enemy team's Ancient. It's all that matters. Good Dota.
Good Dota. Yeah, well, maybe fun Dota. I don't know.
Good to watch.
Yeah,
good
there you
to
go.
watch.
Good from an objective standpoint. Maybe we'll have to have a different discussion about that. But as we said, what a cap for the group stage in a match that well and truly did not matter. It has no bearing on the standings really whatsoever here, but I mean, these two teams played their hearts out. Absolutely fantastic. And with that being said, we are now done for the day, and we're done with the group stage. We are moving on to that playoff bracket. So simply TOOBASED in the cut will be participating in that playoff bracket. Every team will, as we've repeatedly mentioned. There was no elimination in this group stage, so everyone is going to be moving on to that next round. It's just a matter of sort of upper versus lower in terms of that seeding. But that will do it. Thank you all for sort of hanging out with us, watching some Dota. Thank you for spending your Memorial Day with us if you are in the US. If you're not, then happy Monday. Thanks for stopping by anyway. And as we mentioned before, we'll be moving on to the playoffs. There is going to be a bit of an off day, though, in between. Tomorrow, there are no matches from this Americas division. The playoffs will get started on the 2nd. So if you're wondering, where we are tomorrow afternoon, there's your answer. We're going to have the day off, but we'll be back on Wednesday then for the start of that playoff action. So, ET, any closing words here as we sort of finish off this group stage?
Oh, don't forget Whoopet.gg, sponsor of the tournament, really been the people getting this one together. And of course, no elimination. None of these teams are gone. We get to see even more of them. I'm sure there are going to be some grudge matches in that lower bracket. There are going to be some hype matches in that upper division. So stay tuned. We've only got more good Dota coming.
Yeah, the playoffs will simply just add higher stakes, higher pressure, and hopefully bring out the best from these teams when we really get down into that home stretch. So One last time, folks, thank you all for hanging out with us. Appreciate you being here for ET and myself. Good night. We'll see you on Wednesday for the start of that playoff bracket.